This is Paul from sidegains.com. Thanks for watching. Today we're going to look at the Wayback Machine, and if you haven't heard of the Wayback Machine, you can find out how to use it by watching the following video. But if you'd like to read about it with some background to explain how it can be useful, visit the URL on screen now. Well, here we are at the homepage of the Wayback Machine, which is a part of archive.org. You can see we are at web.archive.org, and what we have is a fairly straightforward interface. At the top of the page there's a search bar which we can use to query the Wayback Machine for snapshots of pages it's added to the archive. I'll also draw your attention to this area here titled Save Page Now, which I'll come onto a bit later. But for now I just want to run a search in the Wayback Machine to see if I can find an archived version of a page. Now you can search any URL, but I'm going to use the CNBC homepage for this example. What I'm hoping, and what I'm expecting for CNBC actually, is that the archive will have a number of snapshots taken over several years. So I've added the CNBC homepage URL to the search field, and if I press return, this will start to look through the archive and hopefully it will return whatever it finds. And as you can see, we've got some results. At the top of the page we've got a timeline, and we've defaulted to the current year, 2019. And below this there's a calendar showing each day of the year grouped together by month. You can see that some of the days are highlighted with coloured circles, which means that a snapshot or a number of snapshots of the CNBC homepage have been added to the archive for that day. Days that are not highlighted with the coloured circle mean that a snapshot has not been taken on that day. And just to remind you, we are examining snapshots for the CNBC homepage only and not other pages within the site, which may or may not be in the archive. So I'll select one of these days to see what's been archived and precisely when, and let's choose the 1st of May. And hovering on that, you can see that 13 snapshots have been taken on that day. I want to take a look at one of these, so I'll choose 908 and click on that, and you can see that Wayback Machine is processing and looking through the archive to load the snapshot. And here we are. So this is the CNBC homepage as it appeared at 9:08 on the 1st of May this year. And what is interesting to note up in the URL address bar is that we are still on web.archive.org, which means we are looking at the CNBC homepage through the Wayback Machine lens. At the top of the page, what we also see in the result for this page is another timeline, which I can use to navigate to another period to look at the snapshots that were taken then, and potentially I can also browse CNBC directly in Wayback Machine and look at other pages that have been added to the archive. So I'll pick one at random, perhaps a link from the footer, since I suspect this area will remain fairly similar over time, whereas other elements on the homepage for this news-heavy site will likely be updated very frequently. So let's have a look at Advertise with Us and click on that link. You can see it's processing now, and it's found a page that was archived on the 29th of April 2019, which is presumably the most recent archived version of that page. So we've effectively browsed an archived version of the CNBC site, and we can choose another link from the footer, perhaps the privacy policy, and see if that too has been archived. And it has. You can see it's been snapshotted on April the 29th, and hovering over the details tells me it was added at 3:44 in the morning. Now I'll click on the Wayback Machine logo to go back to the archive homepage, and I'll try to make a search for a page that is not in the archive. This time I'll use the homepage of the site I use for my web consultancy business, ok200.co.uk, and we'll see if this has been snapshotted. Once again, you can see from the calendar that pages from the site have been archived. So if I go to 2018 by clicking on the year in the timeline, the calendar shows there are various days during this year that snapshots have been taken. And I'll click the snapshot for this 22nd of July 2018 and we can look at how my home page looked on that day. And here we are. Now I want to find a page that hasn't been archived, so I'll click the portfolio link in the footer. See that page has been archived. So if I try one of these links on the portfolio page itself, and you can clearly see Wayback Machine is telling me it doesn't have a snapshot of this page. So there are a couple of things we can do here to submit the page to the archive. We have an option to save it right here by clicking the link titled Save the URL in Wayback Machine. We can also go back to the Wayback Machine homepage and look at the Save Page Now box I highlighted earlier on. So I'll add the URL of the page I want archived and click the Save Page button, and this submits a request to add the page, and as it's processing you can see at the top of the page it tells me that the page is being saved. And there we go. The timeline shows the 6th of June 2019 and it's showing one capture, so it looks to have been successful. So if I go back to the home page again by clicking on the Wayback Machine logo and search once more for this particular page, we can see if it now shows an archive page for today. Again, I add the URL into the search box and press return, and there we go. You can see that a page has now been added to the archive. It's as simple as that. This is Paul from sidegains.com. Thanks for watching this video. Be sure to check back soon for more videos, but in the meantime you can find lots of tips, tricks and tutorials about anything related to blogging and making money online at sidegains.com.